This morning, I want to speak on the subject, understanding God. Understanding God, who God is and what He is to all of us. Exodus chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3, reading from verse 13 to 14. So if you want to be part of this dream, part of this vision, part of preparing for your own old age, okay, please come and see me or see Mrs. Olurakinyo after the service. You'll be looking after yourself if you are supporting this dream. Whatever you can do. And even if the house is not yours, somebody that has a house that they're not really using and they can make it available for this, will be happy to speak to that person. Moses said unto God in Exodus chapter 3 verse 13, Moses said unto God in Exodus chapter 3 verse 13, Behold, when I come to the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, The God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What will I tell them? So God had told Moses, Go back to my children in Egypt, where they're going through bondage, through difficulty, through crisis, through tension, through fear, through anxiety, and tell them that I am the God of their fathers, and I have sent you, Moses, to deliver them. None of the children of Israel had really spoken to God as such. They were just crying by reason of hard bondage and hard labor. And God heard their cry and said to Moses, It's time to rescue my children. The God of your fathers has sent me unto you. And then Moses said, What shall I tell them your name is? What is your name? And God said unto Moses, My name is I am that I am. I am that I am. You shall say unto the children of Israel that I am. I am forever. I am yesterday. I am today. And I am forever has sent me unto you. The question this morning is, who is this God? One of the biggest challenges of life, of Christianity, of the human race, is that we do not really know who God is. We have different ideas, different thoughts, different suggestions, and different imaginations of who God is. But the fact that we behave in certain ways at certain times reinforces to me that indeed we do not know who God is. We think we know who God is, but we somehow do not really know who God is. And the reason why we don't know who God is that we don't spend enough time to read about God. We don't spend enough time to study about God. We don't spend enough time with God. And we don't spend enough time having fellowship with God. As a pastor, one of the things that I do a lot of is counseling married people. Some of them married for 1 year. Some of them 6 months. Some of them 10 years. Even some who have been married for 30-something years still have problems. They still have problems. They've been married together 30-something years, 40-something years, and they're still having challenges and problems and still threatening one another with divorce and separation. And I look at these two people now in their 60s, quarreling and fighting, and they've been together for only 35 years. And I say to them, why are you quarreling? Why are you fighting? And this one is saying this one is behaving this way. This one is saying this one is behaving this way. This one is saying this one is behaving this way. And I said the only problem with both of you is that after 35 years, you really don't know one another. You really don't know one another. And if you think you know one another, you really haven't accepted and come to terms with one another's character, background, and behavior. These are people who have been living together for 35 years. Now, imagine people living together for 35 years who can talk, who can see, who can know, who knows habits, who understands movements and things like that, and they still don't know one another. Imagine you having a relationship with a God that you cannot see, a God that you cannot touch, a God that you really cannot feel. And therefore, for you to know God, you need to know that you need to spend a lot of time, a lot of extra time, a lot of key time, a lot of important time trying to find out who this God is. Who is this God? If you knew who God is, you will not spend your time worrying, fretting, being anxious, crying, having sorrow, being miserable, being tired, being fed up, thinking that certain things are not going to work for you, or that your life is in a particular type of bind and bondage. A young girl sent me a text which I looked at in between the services, and the text didn't make me very happy at all. The text showed me that the young girl has limited understanding, the young girl has limited gratitude, and the young girl has limited capacity to understand who God is. It's a young girl that comes to this church, she and her parents, okay? And I have been looking after the girl for many, many years. Paid her school fees, sent her to school, sent her pocket money on a regular basis. And anytime she's a bit short of cash, she starts to send me very, very anxious text messages. I'm here all on my own. I'm here by myself. I haven't gotten any money. I've gone. And this is a girl who just sent some money about 4 weeks ago. Now the money has run out. She's angry. So she sent me a text today. 2 weeks ago, I sent her pocket money. Now she sends a text that on my way back, by the way, she's graduated. We finished paying her school fees. She's graduated. She's supposed to come back home after graduating and doing youth corps. All right? She sends me a text and says, Pastor, I'm angry. I'm depressed. I'm tired. I'm thinking of committing suicide. I said, what kind of text is this? I said, what happened? She said she banged her leg on the road on her way back from her dormitory. Her leg is bleeding. Her leg is swollen. And the pocket money I sent to her has run out. And her sister could send her only 1,500 naira. So she's angry. She's depressed. She doesn't even have money to come back home from school. And she's tired. She wants to commit suicide. What kind of thinking is it? I've paid your school fees. You have graduated. You are coming back home after graduating. And you bang your leg on the road, or Okada jams your leg. And you are angry. And you want to commit suicide. What kind of thinking is that? If I was God, I'd be angry with her. You have gone through school. Somebody else who doesn't know you paid your school fees. Somebody who doesn't know you sends you pocket money. Anytime you call upon him, he responds to you. Then you are threatening him with suicide. And that's how we behave with God. That's how we behave with God. Gave birth to you, gave you breath, looked after you, protected you, guided you, was there for you, strengthened you, sent you through school, gave you food to eat. Is there anybody that has not had the breath to breathe? Anybody woke up one day and you couldn't breathe and there was no oxygen? You know, one man went to the hospital and then couldn't breathe properly. And then they brought oxygen for him. And every day was paying 25,000 for oxygen. Rich man, plenty money. Paying 25,000 for oxygen. Until the bill became like 250,000. Then one day they brought the oxygen and he just collapsed and started crying. Say, Baba, why are you crying? Crying. Baba, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Is there no more money to pay for oxygen? Is there money to pay for oxygen? I can buy the whole oxygen plant. Why are you crying? Say, I'm crying because I'm now paying 25,000 for what I used to receive for free. I never thank God for the free oxygen that I have. I am now paying for what I used to receive for free. A lot of us don't know who God is. We don't thank him for the things that he does. We don't thank him for who he is. We don't thank him for the things that he has prevented from happening to us. We don't thank him for his protection. Instead, we grumble. You don't have a shoe, you grumble. You don't have a tie, you grumble. You don't have a house, you grumble. You don't have a new car, you grumble. Your wife didn't born pikin, you grumble. Your wife born too many pikin, you grumble. Everything, you grumble. Because the devil has put in you this spirit of dissatisfaction, this spirit of greed, this spirit of selfishness, this spirit of thinking only of yourself all the time. Nobody ever asked God, God, by the way, how are you? By the way, God, have you had breakfast this morning? By the way, God, did you sleep well? By the way, God, is there a problem I can solve for you? Come on, tell me. Is there a problem I can solve for you? Nobody. 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 Instead, you write him a long list of I want, I need, I desire, I must, I have. And when he solves one problem, before he wakes up the next morning, you have sent him another list of 10 problems. Now he has bought you the house. But Lord, what about furniture? What about rug? What about this? What about, in my own wife's case, she said, what about the dog that must be inside the house? My wife loves dogs. You know, before we got married, I didn't know she loved dogs. So on our engagement day, she brought one dog. I said, what is this? He said, it's dog. I said, dog? So she traveled one day. She was asking me about Daisy, her dog. I said, Daisy is in the pot, well cooked. We ask him about all sorts of things, and most of them we don't really need. They're not essential to our being and our lives, because we don't know who God is. How can this girl be thinking of suicide just because she banged her leg on an Okada? What about people who are in hospital? They've tied them all up. They wired their mouth, their leg everywhere, and they're still hoping for life. Hoping for life. We need to reflect and think and be grateful for some things that God has done for us, and be thankful that you can eat and you can digest your food, that you can stand and walk, that you can breathe, that you can move here and there. You need to be thankful for some things of God. I have made up my mind that I will never complain again. Even about Nigerian government, I will not complain. Look, Nigeria has tried. Forget it. It was a designed to fail experiment. The fact that you have road to walk on, we have tried. The fact that some hospitals are there, we have tried. If the devil had his way, you wouldn't even have sun in Nigeria. Some politician would have grabbed the sun and run away with it. And say, before you have sun in Nigeria, you must pay me. That's the thinking of the Nigerian. Grab the Nigerian sun, run away with it. It will be burning him. He will be running with it. Pay me before you have sun. But God, in his infinite wisdom, in their greed, in their desire, in their selfishness, he makes it compulsory that they will at least build one road. You know, those who don't want to build any road. But when they need to chop money, they must build a road. So you and I will have road to pass. So I thank God for everything now. I thank God for traffic. I was telling some people the other day, don't complain about traffic. Traffic is a benefit. Say how? I said number one is a tourist attraction. There's nowhere in the world that you can see traffic like New York and Lagos. Come to Lagos and see the traffic. You want to see a good traffic? Come to Lagos. Then you know what traffic is. Traffic, borehole, traffic, pothole, traffic, trailer fall down, traffic. Enjoy the traffic. Take the picture. Put it on a postcard. Lagos traffic. I enjoy traffic. In fact, sometimes I say, Harry, I need traffic today. I say, Oga, why? I say, I want sleep. I want sleep. I never sleep for 2 days. This traffic, I go sleep. In fact, sometimes when the traffic is ending, I'm disappointed. I say, more traffic! It's what you call it that it is. I read the Bible in traffic. I pray in the traffic. And then wherever I'm going, I have a good excuse to get there late. There's traffic. I just call them, traffic, oh! Traffic, oh! Traffic, I'm coming. Traffic! Learn to cope with life and learn to find the good out of life. Learn to enjoy the things that you consider an inconvenience. When you have no bed to sleep on, think of people who have no shoes. When you have no shoes to wear, think of people who have no legs. When you have no legs, think of people who have no hands also. When you have no hands, think of people who have no head. When you have no head, think of people who have no stomach. When you have no stomach, think of people in the grave. And you begin to appreciate all that God has done for you. Wealth is not money, it's not possessions, it's not cars, it's not houses, it's not private jets. Those things are good and comfortable when you need them. They're good and comfortable when you need them. They're good and comfortable when you need them. But wealth is peace of mind. Peace of mind. You cannot be wealthier than a man that has peace of mind. You cannot be wealthier than a man that has peace of mind. P-O-M. You cannot. What do you want to give him that he doesn't already have? How do you want to fool him? How do you want to bribe him? How do you want to buy him out? I go to places, I have peace of mind. Where you put me is where I stay. What you ask me to do is what I will do. What you don't ask of me, I won't do it. I don't put my nose in people's faces. I mind my business, I find my peace, and when you are making it too hot for me, I run back home and hide under my bed. I say, in this bed, oh, even you Zenan can't find me. Peace of mind. Zenan is my son, by the way. Scatters the whole house. Causes good trouble. May God give you a son that will cause good trouble. He's a guy. He's a good guy. Wahala. Yes. Monkey no they born goat. Goat no they born monkey. Lion no they born monkey. I say, Zenan, keep on giving the trouble. I love you for your trouble. Who wants to born an omugos wegbe? For real! Peace of mind. You cannot be wealthier than the man who has peace. And God says, behold my peace I give unto you. Not as the world gives, but as I give. If you truly know God, if you truly understand God, if you truly appreciate God, if you truly know that God does not do wickedly, no matter what the situation is, he's looking for a way out for you. God does not do wickedly. If you understand that no matter how bad it is, God is working for your good. I like that little man that sings that experience. All things working for my good. It's intentional, never failing. All things working for my good. It's intentional. They asked me to pray at the experience. I got there, I went to hide. Because Paul had said he will want me to pray. He didn't call me, so I was happy. I went to hide, I was dodging. They kept on saying, go and tell him. I said, no. Let me just enjoy the experience. Let me just enjoy the presence or whatever I can find from this place. I went there praying and saying to God, you must visit me and change my situation. Then all of a sudden somebody told him I was around, or our eyes met, Then somebody came to meet me. You want to come and pray? Come and pray. I said, I don't want to pray. I'm not here to pray. I just want to be prayed for and ministered to. They said, no. I said, okay, let's go. So as we're walking through, and I was seeing the whole place, the music, the stage alone can build a house. The stage alone, plus equipment, we build a house. I said, how much money was spent here? I looked at everything. And then I walked up stage, I saw the people running up and down here and there. Every color, every race running here and there. Even one chinko was running up and down. I said, you left China to come and run up and down at the experience? Oh my God. Then as I stood there, I said, this God is amazing. This God is amazing. I said, this Paul, I said, look at the whole world coming to sit where Paul is. Only God can do that. So when people were writing him off and thinking, can anything good come out of Israel? God was saying, you people don't know nothing yet. There's going to be experience through the loins of my son. Through the loins of my son. I don't know who here God has written, who here people have written off. I don't know who here people think that nothing good can come out of you. I say even the whole of House on the Rock, birthed out of pain of what looked like failure. I was there when they started. Even their first outreach, I planned it. Pain looked like failure. But God says, all things working for my is intentional, never failing. All things are working for my good. Never. You don't have to worry. Working for my good is intentional, never fail. God is watching you and making all things work together for your good. That's the God that I serve. That's the God that I worship. That's the God that made me. That's the God I am thankful to. That's the God that I appreciate. That's the God that's moving. That's the God that's standing around us. That's the God that's celebrating us. That's the God that prepared us. That's the God that is there for us. That's the God that will never leave us. That's the God that will never make us fail. That's the God that's ready to pick us up when we're falling. That's the God that's ready to surround us with his favor. That's the God that lets us to make mighty things out of our lives. When it says there's a casting down, the Spirit of God says there's a lifting up. It says people may try to cast you down, but my Spirit is lifting you up. Don't write anybody off. Don't say that God has forgotten them. Don't write yourself off. Don't say that where's God in my life? God is there, alive, well and strong, ready to turn the thing around. Ready to turn the thing around. If only you will let him. Can somebody hear what I'm saying? God is working very hard for you. You may look like you are in sorrow. You have lost somebody. Forget it. God allowed it to happen so that he can compensate you somewhere else. You may think that you have lost your job. Forget it. God allowed it to happen so that he can help you. You may think that you have a child that's not doing well, irresponsible, badly behaved, this and that. Forget it. God is working something in your life and in the life of that child to make it good. The devil may think it is for evil, but Joseph said, whatever it is for evil, my God has turned it to good. We need to understand this God, and we need to appreciate him, and we need to move into a place of peace. And we close in 2 minutes. Who is this God? Number one, God is a spirit. God is a spirit. The Bible tells us in John chapter 4 verse 24 that God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. God is a spirit, something that you cannot see physically, something that you cannot touch physically, something that you cannot hold physically, but something that's around you all the time. God is everywhere. His spirit is moving all over the place. God is so close to you, it's totally unbelievable. If only he could open your eyes. The servant was saying to Elisha, the soldiers have surrounded us. How are we going to escape? And Elisha said a simple prayer. God, open his eyes. Let him see the spiritual activity around him. And his eyes opened. He didn't see God, but he saw angels. All of them around him, ready to arrest any crazy, greedy soldier. Let me tell you that there are angels around you ready to arrest death, ready to arrest failure, ready to arrest sickness, ready to arrest frustration, ready to arrest tiredness, ready to arrest poverty, ready to arrest lack, ready to arrest addiction, ready to arrest anything that is trying to threaten your peace. Because God is a spirit, and the spirit controls the physical. Not only that, his spirit is in many dimensions. Isaiah chapter 11 verse 2 says, the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of counsel, the spirit of might, the spirit of knowledge, and of the fear of the Lord. The spirit, seven-folded spirit, spirit of wisdom, spirit of understanding, spirit of counsel, spirit of might, spirit of knowledge, spirit of the fear of the Lord, and will make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of the eyes, neither after the hearing of the ears. The problem is that we judge after the sight of the eyes and the hearing of the ears. We think that all that we see is all there is. No! God is a spirit, and is moving all the time in his spiritual activity and spiritual dimension. I was telling our church in South Africa last Sunday, where I started to teach them about this, that there's no prayer that you pray that God doesn't hear. There's no prayer that you pray that God doesn't answer. There's no prayer that you pray that God is not trying to solve. I said, for example, you are praying now that God, I want you to give me a car. 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 God has heard that prayer. God has looked at it and said to himself, yes, this car will benefit you. Then God has said, I will bring the car, provided you believe what you are praying. Provided you believe what you are praying. And then God begins to answer the prayer immediately. Why? He sends a message to a factory in Japan or China or Germany that my son Olajide needs a car. So the Chinaman begins to manufacture a car. They say, Mr. Man, why are you manufacturing this car? He said, I don't know. Why are you doing it? He said, I don't know. He said, why are you doing it? I just feel compelled to do it. Who are you going to sell it to? He said, I don't know. How are you going to get it there? He said, I don't know. When they make car in Japan or China, do they know that it's coming to Lagos? I don't know. But they know, God knows, that car that they are making is an answer to Olajide's prayer. Why? He says, before you call, one Chinese man is running up and down, making a car. You haven't even prayed for a car. He's already running up and down, making it. Especially if it's Tokumbo you want. You would have made it before you call. That's how God answers your prayer. He moves the dynamics of life in your favor. Some prayers you are praying, he's answering it in Kuala Lumpur. Your prayers you are praying, he's making the answer in Zanzibar. Some prayers you are praying, the answer is coming from Switzerland. Which woman here has prayed for a box of chocolates before? You prayed, I want chocolate, I want chocolate, I want chocolate. They will come from Switzerland. They are making it in Switzerland. It will come here to Nigeria. By somehow, Sister Lighton will travel. She will just go by duty free. She will see one chocolate. This chocolate looks nice. Let me buy it for Donald. When she gets home, she remembers that Donald is a Benin boy. Kumo chocolate. She just say, let me send it to Pastor Ito Jerry. He's a fine, refined man. Not Benin boy like my husband. Then I will take the chocolate. I say, baby, you want some chocolate? Say, yes, dear. Where did you get it? I can't tell her that Lighton gave me. I can't tell her. But God has answered. Can somebody hear what I'm saying? Before you call, while you are still calling. Number two, God is everywhere. And is God all by himself. God is God all by himself. The only thing that has life. Nothing else has life other than God. Nothing has life. Even the life that you breathe, the life that you have is borrowed from God. He says, I made the human being, I breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Nobody can say what happens when a man dies. Nobody. The corpse is there, the body is there, there's no life. What happened? God withdrew his life and kept it with him in the spirit in heaven. Or maybe goes to hell. Everything that God created has life. This thing has life. This thing. There's life in it. The life of God is inside. Because God creates everything, gives everything his life. This thing has life in it. This thing can hear me. Can you hear me? It can hear. Because there's life inside. It's just a question of degree. Each thing has small life. Then the animals have a bigger one. Then the monkeys have a bigger one. Then the human beings have the biggest life of God. The biggest life of God. We're almost like God. He says, let me make finally something in my image. Something after my likeness. Something that has the things that I have. Three things make God God. Number one, the knowledge of good and evil. The knowledge of good and evil. Only God truly knows good and evil. Then man took it in the Garden of Eden and began to know good and evil. That's why God says man has now become like us. Can you hear what I'm saying? He has now become like us, knowing good and evil. And that's the problem of man. Too much evil that he knows. Too much evil that he knows. Lost his innocence. Second thing is ubiquity. Everywhere at every time. And the third thing is eternal life. Eternal life. The ability to live forever. So the idea was to make it possible for man to live forever and be like God. So there were two trees. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life. When you knew good and evil and you became 1/4 or half God, God says, no! You can't live forever in this state of your good and evil because you still cannot tell what to do, good or evil. Let me take away the tree of eternal life so that you don't live forever in this useless state. And then you cause confusion all over the world. The angels that I created that are living longer than necessary, they're still giving me problem. Took away the tree. Took away the man. So it's for you to earn eternal life. You must work for it. And have yourself sanctified and be purged of all evil. Then you can have eternal life. Can somebody hear what I'm saying? This is the whole essence of the human race. God is in everything. And therefore, you can speak to this thing and say, the Spirit of God inside you, begin to dance, and it will respond. It will respond because it can hear you. The only thing is that because it is matter, it takes a while for it to respond. So you need to wait for that while for it to respond because it is in a gross matter. That's why God said, if you say to this mountain, be thou removed and be cast into the sea, it will hear you because that's how I made it in the first place. I spoke to it, stay there, and it stayed there. If you speak to it to go, it will go. Because it can hear you. That's why that morning, when they were going into Jerusalem, he saw the fig tree. He said, you this tree, fruit. You know God likes fruit. Fruit. No fruit. Say, you this tree, I tell you, no more fruit. And he walked away. Nothing happened to the tree. The tree stood. Nothing happened. And they went. And Jesus was going about his business. Went into Jerusalem, enjoyed himself, this and that. He didn't even look back. So I've given you an instruction. That's why when that centurion says, I am a man under authority. When I say they should go, they go. When I say they should come, they come. Speak the word. The sickness will hear. He says, I have not seen this kind of faith before. Say, this is what I've been telling my people. Have faith in God. I have not seen this kind of faith before. Have faith in God. That whatever you say, God has backed it up. So they walked away. The next day they were coming back. And then Peter, very garrulous, very inquisitive. He looked at the tree. Ah! The tree don't die. Ha! This tree don't die. Hey! Jesus. This tree don't die. Jesus says, you don't understand. I spoke. It heard. It has to die. It may not do it immediately, but it begins to die. He says, the only thing that will stop it from dying is if I doubt what I have said. If I doubt what I have said, then I cut off the instruction. And I cancel my instruction. It's like saying, hey, Zenan, go. Then I say, okay, no, don't go again. Come back. He will come back. When I say, go, it's going. It begins to move. The mountain is moving. But you can't see it. It's moving, but you can't see it because it's a slow movement. It may take him 4 years to move. But once you don't withdraw your instruction, that mountain must move. Let's bow our heads and talk to the mountain. Talk to whatever mountain is in your life. And tell the mountain to move. Be it sickness, be it sorrow, be it fear, be it anxiety, be it tension, be it poverty, be it lack. Tell that mountain, move now! In the name of Jesus. You can hear me, and therefore I command you to move. Don't doubt. If you doubt not, the mountain will move. All heads bowed, all eyes closed. Talk to Jesus. And ask Jesus that every mountain in your life must move. Every problem must be destroyed. Every valley must be exalted. Every mountain must be brought low. Talk to Jesus. And tell that mountain of addiction, move. That mountain of poverty, move. Mountain of sickness, move. That mountain of fear, move. And don't doubt it. For 1 second, don't doubt it. Believe in the Lord your God. So shall you be established. Believe his prophets and his prophecies, so shall you prosper. Have faith in God. God has already done it. And as you speak, he has instructed. All heads are bowed, all eyes are closed.